In other news now, a new report outlines what many Vancouver Islanders already know. The cost of living is rising sharply compared to wages. For more, let's bring in Rob Shaw at the BC Legislature. So, Rob, tell us more about this new report on what's called the living wage.
Well, Stacey, the living wage is basically this calculation done when you take the real world market costs of housing and food, childcare, transportation, and expenses for two parents, two kids working full time to afford a decent standard of living. And as it turns out, according to this new report from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives, those costs are accelerating so rapidly they outpace wage growth and government financial supports, even on a bare bones budget. The report finds the living wage in Victoria is now almost $27 an hour, up more than 5% in just the last year, just shy of around $50,000 annual salary for each of two working parents. There's a big gap you can see there between BC's minimum wage of $17 an hour, highlighting how hard it is for people to live, more than 500,000 people earning minimum wage in the province. The living wage highest in Whistler, almost $29 an hour, and lowest at $21 in Grand Forks in the Kootenays. On the island here, we're in the mid to upper range in Port Alberni, Tofino, the Clayoquot area, edging out Victoria, Salt Spring and Cowichan around $25, $26 an hour, down to Nanaimo with the lowest, but all rising rapidly. Look at the 10% increase year over year in Comox alone. And this assumes rents of around $3,000 for a 3-bedroom place, again up almost 10% year over year.
There is some hope on the horizon. A lot of costs are coming down. The sad reality is that the living wage is focused on essentials, and the cost of essentials year after year is going up higher than the cost of general inflation, in particular food and housing. And they're the two things you can't really cut back on if you want to get by.
It's exactly the kind of pressure the NDP government is facing after the election. They heard clearly from voters that cost of living is the #1 issue. The goal here, hopefully, to either bring the living wage down or prop it sort of back up, people back up with new government programs and support, Stacey. Things like government childcare programs help balance that off a little bit, and some new measures hopefully coming from the EB government.